It's time to talk sports. It's Hacksaw's Headlines, a panorama of the world of sports, stories, comments, and opinions.
Touchdown, San Diego!
Now, here's iconic sports talk show host Lee Hacksaw Hamilton and co-host John Riley.
Who wants to talk sports on a Monday? We do, you do. From the DIXIELINE Lumber and Home Center studios in San Diego, coming off an amazing great sports weekend, we welcome you to our Monday bonus podcast. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Lee Hacksaw Hamilton, along with my co-host, the venerable John Riley, with his opinions from left field, and we welcome you to our podcast, Hacksaw's Headlines. This podcast brought to you by DIXIELINE Lumber and Home Centers. Been in business for more than 100 years. You got projects, they've got materials, you want ideas, they can be your best friend, your consultant. Go to DIXIELINE.com to see all the things that they have to offer. John Riley, good afternoon. Wow. Have you seen enough football? And by the way, there's more football this afternoon at 4:30 on the West Coast. Wow.
A panorama in the world of sports.
Just amazing what we've seen. We're going to cover a lot of different topics on the table. We're going to buzz bomb our way through some of this. We give you content, then we give you opinions because we do sports talk the way it should be done. But then we open it up and we allow you to jump in on what we call Fans Forum. John, for people who are with us at the front end of the podcast for the first time ever, how does Fans Forum work? How do we get them involved?
Well, Rams fans are already jumping in, man. They're all fired up. So, hey, if you got any questions or comments for Hacksaw in the world of sports, just drop your take in the live chat. YouTube, X, Facebook will get you involved.
And just a reminder, because we do sports talk the way it should be done, you can really help us make this thing grow. Hit the follow button on as you're watching. Give us a thumbs up. Give us a 5-star rating because that really helps us grow this podcast. We had a lot to get done and going to go a lot of different directions. And I say we're going to try to cover a lot of material here. So we're going to work our way fast through. Let's start all things NFL.
All right, here we go. Speed sports with Hacksaw. Let's get the playoffs up on the board.
Unbelievable. Big wins, big heartbreak. That should probably be the bullet point in the headline. How about the Los Angeles Rams? Rams, known for their great offense led by their great veteran quarterback, the MVP candidate Matthew Stafford, won the game because of their defense. The Rams' defense is the reason they survived the weather and survived the Chicago Bears in that 2017 overtime win. How about that? Interception in overtime seals the deal and gets them into field goal range for the victory. But it was the fourth down defensive stops by Sean McVay's team at the 1, at the 2, at the 20, and at the 30. That was the difference in the game. Just absolutely amazing performance. And, of course, Stafford led them on 85 and 91-yard scoring drives, the only 2 drives they had. They got anything accomplished offensively during the course of the game. And for the Bears, Caleb Williams going through a tough learning curve. Put some balls in places he should not have put balls in. He wound up throwing 2 touchdowns, but he wound up throwing 3 critical picks in the course of the game. And, of course, there was a little mystical finish to regulation when he was running for his life, scrambled, dropped all the way back to the 40-yard line, threw a 50-yard heave into the end zone that was caught by his tight end with 18 seconds to go to tie the game. What a finish. But the Rams are the ones that won it because the Rams won it with their defense, and they've had to do this on the road, and they're going to go on the road again for the NFC Championship game. So, John, I'm going to go game by game. Give me your reaction to what the Rams did to the Bears.
Well, this is the Rams team that we've been thinking about and talking about most of the season. We thought they were the favorite going into the playoffs, but what was your take on the Caleb Williams interception that DJ Moore didn't seem to really run that route too aggressively?
It looked like he broke off the pattern. You're talking about the overtime pick.
Yeah.
But it may well be that the field is kind of frozen, so he may have lost some balance, maybe lost his plant and his ability to go forward. But it did look like he slowed down. But why is Caleb Williams launching that ball to a guy that had the safety in front of him? He's not going to throw it over the safety. And the receiver looked like he gave up on the route too, but maybe the field elements had something to do with it. But boy, at the end of the day, you make 4 defensive stops with your backs to your own wall, at the 1, the 2, the 20, and the 33. What a performance by Sean McVay's football team. And I felt they were living on borrowed time this whole time. And after Caleb Williams hit that heave with 18 seconds to go in regulation for the score that tied it, I thought, oh, they're dead. They're not going to survive. And they did survive.
Yeah, that was an unbelievable game. Great venue, great drama for the playoffs.
Seattle, San Francisco. I knew it was going to come to an end somewhere here. San Francisco, to get where they got with all these injuries, that was a hell of a season. And their season ended on the opening kickoff. Rashid Shaheed goes 95 yards, touchdown, opening kickoff in Seattle for the Hawks before you could snap your fingers. It was 17-0 in the first quarter, game effectively over. Then they rode their defense, and they rode 116 yards rushing from their power back, Kenneth Walker. Defense had 3 takeaways. Seahawk defense had 3 stops on 4th down. That's 6 possessions, which Brock Purdy got nothing accomplished. Sam Darnold, playing after being shot up because of the oblique injury, labored through for 140, but they did not need it. The Niners end their year with 12 wins against all the odds, against all the injuries, against all the conflict and the distractions during the course of the season. End of the road, San Francisco and off the cliff. Seattle's really a complete football team. Holy cow, are they a complete football team.
Yeah, Niners playing with house money this time of the season. But you got to give it up for Seattle. You know that Rashid Shaheed is from San Diego.
Yes.
Went to high school, Mount Carmel, over here in Rancho Penasquito. So
they got him at the trade deadline. Big difference maker.
Yeah, huge. I mean, I was with you. I missed the kickoff, and all of a sudden I look up, and it was like only 13 seconds into the game, and they were down by a touchdown. Unbelievable.
Third game, Denver, Buffalo. I mean, that was a shootout. 33-30 Broncos. Great game. I was going to say everybody won, but everybody lost. I mean,
yeah,
the Bills lost, and Denver lost its quarterback on a fluke play, second to last play of the game on what's supposed to be a kneel down for the game-winning field goal. His ankle buckles because he got bumped as he was going down. Broken ankle, Bo Nix. To me, that kind of changes a whole bunch of things as it relates to the Broncos as they go to the AFC Championship game. But the Orange Crush defense did it. 2 picks, 3 fumble recoveries, 3 quarterback sacks. Nix was hot, Nix was cold, Nix was Nix before he got hurt. 279 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, but the broken ankle. Josh Allen, totally out of character. He threw for 283. He threw for 3 scores. He turned it over 4 times. 2 interceptions, 2 careless fumbles. And that being said, Buffalo reeled off 17 points in a row and looked like they were going to take the game by the throat in the second half. And that included a wild, ballsy hook and ladder play.
Oh, yeah.
Just absolutely amazing. Raging controversy after the game about the Quan McMillan interception. Brandon Cooks says he'll go to his deathbed. I caught that ball at the end. But NFL replay showed it. You have to make the catch. You have to complete a football play. He had the ball. He got hit as they went to the ground. When they rolled over, he didn't have the ball anymore. He lost the ball as they completed the football play. So I think it was a pass interception. Bills had 449 yards offense in Denver and still lost the game. And now Denver has to go with journeyman backup Jarrett Stidham for the AFC Championship game. It's going to be a challenge, except that Sean Payton will coach the hell out of him this week. That guy's a proven veteran. They're not going to ask Jarrett Stidham to be Bo Nix. They're not going to ask Jarrett Stidham to win the game. They'll just ask Jarrett Stidham manage the game, run it, throw it if you can, and hope our defense will hold on and get us the victory. So what'd you think? Denver 33, Buffalo 30.
Yeah, that was a wild game going OT and everything. And, I think, Nick Foles is suddenly back in the spotlight. People remembering how he took over and got him to the Super Bowl win. But, you were talking about that interception that, was controversial. But there was a similar play in the Rams-Bears game.
Yes.
So how were they different? Because I think one was an interception and one was not in the official final result.
Well, the fact of the matter is Cooks caught it, was going down, But you have to have a complete football play once you have the ball in your hands. And that's either being tackled and downed, or if the ball's coming loose, somebody gets control of the ball before it hits the ground, becomes an incompleted pass. That's what was different is McMillan wrestled it away from Cooks as they were rolling, and as they completed the play, McMillan had the ball in his hands.
Yeah, that was weird.
So, a lot of questions about the officiating during the course there, but boy, what a terrible blow to lose Bo Nix at this point, because they've been brilliant, but now they don't have him.
Bring back Phillip Rivers?
No. It'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Stidham has played a bunch in the NFL coming off the bench. Just manage the game. Don't lose the game for me. Final game. Only term that was front of mind as I watched New England do it to Houston. Quarterbacks under siege. Drake May survived. C.J. Stroud did not. How about the 2 Patriot touchdown catches? Stephon Diggs, one hand. How about the diving catch? Keyshawn Boutte with the corner line of the end zone there, both feet in. Just phenomenal touchdowns for the Patriots. But boy, those defenses just chased the hell out of those quarterbacks. New England had 4 interceptions, fumble recovery, 3 sacks of C.J. Stroud. You talk about having a bad 2 weeks. That guy turned the ball over 7 times in 2 playoff games. And Houston's defense, my heart goes out to them. They had 5 sacks, 9 tackles for losses. They held Drake May to 3 for 14 on 3rd down, and they lost.
Yeah, they did a hell of a job.
I could not block Will Anderson. He ran roughshod over their star left tackle, Will Campbell. It was a terrible beatdown, but they did not get it done. Houston really ran out of players. They had 6 injured players by the time we got to the second half of that game. But New England's for real. Whether it's pretty or ugly, Vrabel's got them believing everything that they're calling is going to work. So now New England goes to Denver. What did you think about the quarterbacks being under siege?
Oh, yeah. C.J. Stroud was just getting pummeled. And I was wondering if they would even think about going to the backup at halftime.
That's what I thought.
Because nothing was working.
And Davis Mills had managed games for them when Stroud was out with concussion, won games for them. But that'd be a terrible vote of no confidence in this quarterback.
And then the other thing I'm thinking about is how stupid are the Titans for getting rid of Mike Vrabel?
Concur. But again, that's an organizational failure.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Okay. Those are the 4 playoff games. You got to comment about what you saw, comment about officiating, comment about quarterbacks. Fans forum chat box is open. Throw it deep. Give us an opinion right now looking for NFL
Throw
fans.
It deep.
Now, we go from what's on the field to all things off the field, and wow, is our world upside down.
Yeah, big news this morning.
Early morning hours, the Buffalo Bills fired Sean McDermott. In a span of 10 days, 3 of the top coaches in the AFC out. McDermott, 98-50 in Buffalo. Changed the culture, won with Josh Allen. McDermott, though, only 8-8 in postseason. Never won an AFC championship game with this core group, led by that quarterback. Gone. 3 times they played for the AFC championship and came away with a bloody nose. It is shocking to me. I asked a guy in Buffalo in the early morning hours today when the story broke, is this the right guy to blame? He said no. He's going to write a column today in the Buffalo Evening News that said they should have taken out the general manager. Bean. The interesting aspect, since they drafted Josh Allen, they've had 56 draft picks. Since they picked Josh Allen, only 2 of the 56 are Pro Bowl players.
Really?
So the supporting cast around that great quarterback has never really gotten better.
That makes sense.
So at the end of the day, they hit the eject button on Sean McDermott. Hot rumor. They may talk to Brian Daboll, the ex-Giant coach. Daboll used to be the coordinator in Buffalo when Josh Allen was a young developing star. Daboll's a great X and O's guy, lousy head coach. Maybe Daboll winds up going back to Buffalo and they try to resurrect that. The other insinuation, you're in the 716 area code? You're the owner of the Buffalo Bills, Mr. Pagula?
Yeah.
You got about as much money as anybody across the landscape? Call Mike Tomlin. That's what everybody's saying in Buffalo. Call Mike Tomlin. So this was a shocker what happened in Buffalo. The Giants, deal done. John Harbaugh, 5-year contract, reportedly in almost $20 million per year. However, he got what he wanted. He wanted separation of powers. He wanted what he had in Baltimore. John Harbaugh is not going to report to the general manager, Joe Schoen. He's going to report directly to the Mara-Tisch family. So, struggle, power play, Harbaugh has gotten what he wanted. Atlanta, I was a little surprised, but they wanted to hire this guy before this guy got hired somewhere else. Kevin Stefanski leaves Cleveland. He goes there. Assignment 1, figure out what you're doing at quarterback. Stefanski, past relationship with Kirk Cousins, who's making a lot of money to be the backup. Stefanski's going to look at Michael Penix. Can I win with this guy? They've got a lot of stuff around them offensively. So I think that's a great hire for Atlanta. Next one, Baltimore Ravens. I'm not quite sure what they're going to do. Why has there been such a delay? They got everything you'd want, and you've not hired a coach yet. Now, maybe they're just waiting for this interview with Robert Saleh. Maybe Baltimore's going to turn around and make a move on Mike McDaniel from Miami. They did have one interview with Jesse Minter of the Chargers. So are they going to hire offense or defense? Haven't hired anybody yet, but they need to move quickly because suddenly so many other jobs open. Some of these marquee guys might go. So keep an eye on that. Cleveland, I don't know. They're lost in the woods. At one point, my Cleveland guys are telling me they're just going to promote the defensive coordinator, Jim Schwartz, who's really popular and built that great defense. Just give him that head job. The next day, they're interviewing a dark horse candidate out of Jacksonville, their offensive coordinator, Grant Udinski, and they call him back for a second interview already. And, of course, they've also talked to Mike McDaniel down in Miami. I'm not sure what Cleveland's doing. Pittsburgh, this is different. I thought they're going to hire defense because they're going to interview Jesse Minter already. They're interviewing other people with defensive background, including Robert Saleh coming in for an interview. Pittsburgh tomorrow is interviewing Mike McCarthy, ex-Packer Cowboy. This came out of nowhere. But McCarthy's a Western Pennsylvania guy, and he's a veteran guy, and that's what Pittsburgh's ownership has always done, has hired veteran assistants or veteran head coaches other places. So Pittsburgh, suddenly, Mike McCarthy goes to the front of the line there. Tennessee, hell if I know. But that organization is so upside down, I'm not sure what they're going to do. We know one thing. Everybody's impressed with Cam Ward. So do you go get Mike McCarthy? McCarthy brought back, interviewed 2 days in a row now in Nashville before he's going to Pittsburgh. Do they hire him before he gets off the plane in Pittsburgh to talk to the Steelers? Or are they going to hire somebody defensively? Keep an eye on that one. Raider Nation. And I wish I knew what they were doing because I'm not sure that they know what they're doing. I was told Tom Brady is conducting interviews with John Spytek in Miami, getting ready for the championship football game tonight, all day today. Last night, they began a whole series of interviews with their candidates. They want to meet a second time with Jesse Minter, the Charger coordinator. They've already met with Mike McDaniel. They're very intrigued in Nathan Scheelhaas, the passing game coordinator of the Rams, but now they can't touch him until the Rams are out of the playoffs. So do the Raiders sit here and wait for Scheelhaas to come available and lose all the other candidates, or do they make a bolder move and hire maybe the Charger defensive coordinator? In Miami, Joe Brady, Buffalo, evidently is going to Miami for an interview to meet with the Dolphins. He's an offensive guy, but everybody's pointing to Jeff Hafley, the defensive coordinator of Green Bay. He's going to wind up in Miami. And in Arizona, everybody with defensive background. Raheem Morris, Robert Saleh, Vance Joseph, Denver. I think they need to fix the quarterback problem, but you're going to hire somebody with defensive background, just like the last guy you hired that did not work out, Jonathan Gannon. So, John, there's so many names, and they're all the same names, almost all the different places. So we got 2 hires already. First of all, what's your response to what the hell happened in Buffalo? And where's the next domino to fall now that Harbaugh and Stefanski are off the board?
Well, I mean, first of all, it's hard keeping track of all this. And I know why you call it the coaching carousel. Exactly. Yeah, I know why you call it the coaching carousel. It's things spinning, everyone's getting jobs, and teams are jumping in or jumping out. And the McDermott news kind of hit us offside the head.
I was broadsided.
That was crazy. So, you got to make a decision, though. I mean, you only have this kind of a Superman quarterback, once in a generation.
Got 5 years left.
Yeah, so you can't keep, like it's like the old Einstein quote, do the same thing over and over again, expect a different result.
I was stunned at the McDermott end result. I put it more on the general manager than I do at anybody. Were you surprised Stefanski will go to Atlanta, considering I think he had his choice of a lot of different places, including the Baltimore Ravens?
Well, you're always talking about how he was 2-time coach of the year, but he's still the Browns coach, so you're not sure what you're going to get. But I guess, the people that know what they're talking about know this guy's legit.
Okay. You're an NFL fan. Is your head spinning like 10 openings?
Is this the most it's ever been, like an off-season?
I think it ties an all-time record.
Crazy.
10 openings out of the 32 jobs in the NFL.
Hey, what's up with McDaniels, the coach from the Dolphins? Is he going to be an offensive coordinator somewhere?
I think he might get an offer to be a head coach. I think he'd want to be a head coach, but he's got fallbacks. I was told I think he's interviewed now 7 places, either for a head coach or for offensive coordinator. So despite the way it ended up with Tua and Tyreek down in Miami, evidently his rep is still pretty credible other places. Okay, NFL fans, you want to talk about the coaching carousel? Feel free to join us. We go from that to the decision that has to be made with the Chargers.
Yeah, you going to do a post-mortem here, Lee?
Autopsy. Okay. So they held the end-of-season press conference at the end of last week. Joe Hortiz, Jim Harbaugh. They used the word success. They refused to use the word failure. Okay, you can perceive it any way you want. Yes, the Chargers have back-to-back 11-win seasons. The Chargers have no playoff wins with these guys in the leadership chair. And now they've wiped out the offensive side of the coaching staff. I'm sorry, they betrayed Justin Herbert. They did not fix the offensive line, beset by injuries. They did not make playbook changes in the midst of this debacle. That's on the fired Greg Roman. Harbaugh continues to quote Churchill and Chaucer and whomever. You failed. You failed the quarterback. Nobody's written about this. Nobody's talking about this. Is anybody paying attention? Justin Herbert's been sacked 105 times in the last 2 years with Harbaugh and Greg Roman's offense. How is that allowed to happen? Harbaugh uses, I don't know where he pulled this one out. Maybe it was some Dwight Eisenhower Ike. His statement at the Friday press briefing, those who stay will be champions. Well, you're 0-2 in the playoffs, and your quarterback's been destroyed. I mean, there's no doubt the injuries to the bookend tackles really hurt them, but the other 3 offensive linemen failed, and that's on Hortiz and that's on Harbaugh. Harbaugh said, I'm going to hire a head coach of my offense. Well, I thought that's what Roman was. And you're the CEO. You didn't take control as this coach was staggering and struggling and calling plays and making Herbert stand in the pocket and get his brains beat out again and again and again. They have 27 free agents. They have $100 million in cap space, but Hortiz says we're not going to burn through this cash. We're going to be very conservative as to what we're going to spend. Where do they go? Well, I like Brian Daboll as an X and O's creative guy, the ex-Giant coach, miserable head coach, but X and O's bright guy. But now with what happened in Buffalo, Daboll may never get to visit with Hortiz and Harbaugh. I've been told that they have an appointment to interview Mike McDaniel as a coordinator. They were interested in Tommy Rees, the play-calling passing game coordinator in Cleveland, but I heard Rees is going to Atlanta with Stefanski. The other one was Davis Webb, the passing game coordinator under Sean Payton. But now, hands off, you can't touch him till Denver's done playing. So that might be another 2 weeks away. But I'm just really bothered by this whole thing that we were successful. The hell you were. You nearly lost your quarterback and put him in the hospital. You're not successful. 105 quarterback sacks in 2 years. So they got a lot of work to be done. I'm not buying a sales pitch. Everything's great, because everything's not great. Reaction? I don't know. It's just so Chargers, you know. It just always happens. They get cursed a lot. I mean, you have 3 first-round picks on that offensive line. And Slater goes down in training camp. What is that, like the last day of camp or something like that? Very early in camp.
Oh, very early in camp.
And then Alton went down, week 4 of the season?
Yeah, and he tried to come back, and then he had to hang it up. So it's just more curse of the Chargers. But, you know, you can't... I mean, you have to, say, Harbaugh needs to get, maybe McDaniels. So I think that could be the guy, right? Coming here, like an offensive guru, he can figure it out.
We need to get rid of this aura. We're going to play Harbaugh tough guy football. Not with that offensive line, and not with all these running backs who are hurt. You need to play to the strength of that hired gun quarterback.
Yeah. Well, clearly, I mean, this is the same dilemma as what's happening in Buffalo. You know, you got a wasted talent here. You know, so it comes down to Harbaugh. I mean, he's got to figure this out. That's why he's getting paid the big bucks.
Charger fans, Charger haters, jump on board. Feel free. They called 2025 a success. It ended the same way 2024 did. You got your doors blown off and your quarterback's hurt again. So you tell me, success or failure? Great headline, John. Success or failure? The Chargers' 2025 season. Join us. Fans Forum chat box is open. I've watched so much football, my eyes are falling out of my head. And we got one more game.
One more game. It's a big one tonight for the championship.
4:30 this afternoon. Now I'm going to invoke what Dan Lanning said. This championship game looks so out of place on my emotional calendar. I'm so laser focused, the NFL has just consumed me. Dan Lanning, Oregon's coach, said 2 weeks ago, change this format structure. Play all the playoff games in the bowls and be done. Play it in the Rose Bowl, the championship game, January 1. That's when college football should end. This, to me, seems so anticlimactic.
Yeah, definitely.
This seems to have lost its zing. Nonetheless, we're going to play. And you got sledgehammer style of football at Indiana. And you got a scorching pass rush with a quarterback that can make some big plays and also make some mistakes at Miami. Fernando Mendoza versus Carson Beck. You got a phenomenal offensive and defensive front wearing crimson and cream, IU's colors. And you got the Canes, who have a fierce pair of defensive ends going to try to disrupt that Indiana quarterback. I tend to think there's just way too much physicality at the line of scrimmage for Indiana to lose this game. I think they probably win it. But to me, it's just, tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I should feel differently. This thing seems so anticlimactic because now we're dropped this championship game in the middle of the most important time of the National Football League season. This thing, if it were on New Year's Day in the Rose Bowl, that would be the epitome of the way to end a season. Agree or disagree?
Yeah, well, I agree with you, but tonight's still going to be great. And it'll be interesting is I just realized that this game is in Miami, isn't it?
Yes.
So and I know that when the Indiana was in the previous game, the semifinal against Oregon, that was in I think Arizona, and Indiana Hoosier Nation showed up. It was like 80-20. So it'd be interesting to see what the balance of power in the stands is tonight.
But there's no home field advantage because the ticket allotment to Miami fans and Indiana fans is the same, and the rest of those tickets are sold to corporate sponsors. It'll be a different environment.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, but the whole thing about Cignetti, it's interesting learning new things about him. I didn't realize he was an assistant on Saban's staff in Alabama in the early
back, and then he left.
Yeah.
He said, "Okay, I've learned under the greatness of Nick Saban. I want to be a head coach," and that's why he went to Indiana of Pennsylvania Division II school, and he won there, and then the road took him other places, and he finally wound up at James Madison. But he was there under Saban's tutelage and then left.
Okay, that's part of the tree, the Saban tree.
Exactly. Okay, Indiana, Miami. Who do you think's going to win? Indiana, Miami. Does this feel really out of place? At least on my football calendar, it does. I told you we would give you topics on the table and we would move at warp speed. Fans Forum chat box is open for college football fans. Jump on board. We are at halftime. Podcast brought to you by Dixieline Lumber and Home Centers, more than 100 locations to serve you. And we've talked about all the unique and different things.
Wait a minute. Wait, 100 locations.
I mean, in business for more than 100 years.
Yeah, I was going to say they've like quadrupled, you know.
Brain lock.
It's okay.
I told you what, I watched too much football this week.
Yeah, man, it's all good.
X's and O's. Anyhow, Dixieline Lumber in business for more than 100 years. Dixieline Lumber, doors, windows, lumber. Dixieline also with their unbelievable tool displays at every one of the stores. John, I'll let you take it from here.
You know what's a cool thing that Dixieline does this time of the year is storage products. You know, and I'm talking about like big plastic bins,
tubs.
You know, with the tubs and everything, and you know that you're going to use to organize your Christmas ornaments or parts of the house when you're getting ready to do your spring cleaning. Dixieline's got a huge assortment of storage products like that, and ways to sort of kind of trick out your garage, you know, with the way you present your tools in your garage, your storage, your shelving. That's the place to go for storage is Dixieline Lumber.
Like the wife says, you clean up that garage. To which John says, I'm going to Dixieline.
Yeah, there you go.
Connect the dots.
Okay.
Dixieline Lumber. Go to Dixieline.com to see all the things they have to offer. We are at halftime. When we're done putting topics on the table, you're going to be allowed to come to this table, pull up a chair, and talk sports with us, John. It's called Fans Forum. How do people get involved on the live stream?
Pull up a chair. Yeah, get involved. There's a lot of people already piling in. Everyone's really fired up, too, right now for the big game tonight, Indiana against Miami. So if you have a question or comment in the world of sports, drop your take in the live chat on Facebook, on YouTube, or on X. We'll get you involved in Fans Forum.
A couple of other business reminders. I write about sports every day of the week on my website, leehacksawhamilton.com. It's there first thing every morning. Secondly, you can subscribe by going to my website, become part of Hacksaw's Insiders Group, get on the email list. We send out 2 newsletters a day. It's kind of like publishing a morning newspaper and an afternoon newspaper.
Yeah, it is.
It is. So get on our email list. Just fill out, join Hacksaw's Insiders Group. Bingo. You get the emails twice a day with our newsletters. Also want you to share. Tell everybody what we do Mondays and Thursdays at 1:30 Pacific. Subscribe. When you subscribe, every time we put videos, extra videos, bonus videos up on the website, on the podcast channel, YouTube channel, you'll get the alert. You think I did a few of those this week? Yeah. Holy cow. Anyhow, so we want you to get the alerts, so just subscribe on the YouTube channel. Follow me on social media, just at Hacksaw1090, or just type in my name on X, Lee Hacksaw Hamilton. Hit the follow button. Give us a thumbs up. Hit the follow button there. And also, give us a 5-star rating. It really helps our growth a great deal. Did I cover it all?
Dude, you're like the Energizer Bunny, man. You just keep going and going and going.
I need more coffee. Okay, we're ready for the second half. This podcast brought to you by Dixieline Lumber and Home Centers. They can help you build it, fix it. You will enjoy it in 2026 at Dixieline. That was all things NFL in the first half. We are baseball-centric because we know where the stories are and what the information is. Let's start with Padre baseball.
Yeah, 15 free agents. Have they done enough?
Great question. So here we are, a couple of 3 weeks away from the start of spring training, and the Padres have one acquisition, and that acquisition is now hurt. SUNG-MUN, the Korean second baseman, shortstop, third baseman that they signed to a 4-year contract, their first real offseason acquisition, is out. Will probably miss the beginning of spring training, oblique injury. Big setback for the Padres there. Now, I keep a running list of all their acquisitions. They have signed, you don't know it, I know it, 15 free agents in this offseason. Not one of these guys is an established major leaguer. Obviously, Song was going to be part of the starting lineup, but he's not going to be at least for all of spring training. Jose Miranda comes from Minnesota. Multi-purpose, multi-position utility guy, hit .262 last season. He's probably a replacement for Jose Iglesias, which kind of surprises me they're not bringing him back. Nick Solak had been in Texas, prior to that in Cincinnati. A little bit of power, right-handed hitting first baseman, has never been able to stay in the major leagues. Tristan McKenzie, to me, is the unique acquisition. Ex-Cleveland Guardian. For a year and a half, really dominant. Arm problems. Hasn't done anything consistently or well the last 2 seasons. The Guardians did not keep him. Padres are bringing him in to see. Interesting kid from the Washington Nationals. D'Anzo Acosta. 2.42 ERA, AA. Young, live arm prospect. Now, he's never pitched above AA baseball, but that's the kind of guy you say, this guy could grow with us. Tyler Adcock, pitcher, Mariners. Last I checked, ERA 14.98.
Whoa.
They bring him in? You kidding me? And Sean Boyle, journeyman minor leaguer, 9-9 in the Yankee farm system. Just a guy. So here's the question I pose. We know the issues with the pitching staff. We know there are still holes in the batting order. And they've acquired 15 guys in the offseason, Padre fans. And now they've lost Sung with the oblique for likely all of spring training. Have the Padres done enough? Or the Padres just painted into a bad corner financially? They can't really do anything else. Does this team look like it's a playoff team right now? So, John, I just gave you the top names. Any of those guys register with you aside from the Korean infielder?
I know. I'm like, who? I mean, I remember McKenzie. When they signed him, I saw like on the Padres X feed where they highlighted that they signed him. I'm like, okay, I think I've seen that guy before. Yeah. But every one of these other names, I'm like, who?
Just guys.
But at least, to me, I just see this as, Preller, picking up a few lottery tickets at 7-Eleven, hoping that one of them's going to hit, and then he's got something to work with. But there's clearly more homework to do here.
But where are you going to do it? What do you got to trade? Who's left out there on the free agent market? And do you have more than 55 cents to spend? It's a big issue.
It is.
That's where we are, Padre fans. You answer the question that John put up there. Have the Padres done enough? Those are the marquee names of what they've acquired in the offseason. Is there any difference maker there aside from the Korean infielder who now can't play? Feel free. Fans Forum chat box is open for Padre fans because we know baseball. We talk baseball. We have opinions about baseball.
Yeah, we do.
Oh, we go from that to Dodger baseball.
Checkbook baseball. Here we go. Show me the money.
Is that an editorial opinion directed at Andrew Friedman in Dodgertown?
That's a picture of you with a top hat.
Oh, just amazing. This is the aftermath of the signing of Kyle Tucker, Chicago Cubs. Okay, I'm going to walk you through the statistics of this acquisition. 4 years, $240 million. $30 million is deferred. The average cost of the salary is $57 million per. But because they're a third-time offender atop the third tier of the luxury tax, they have to pay 110% tax on that $57 million per year deal. You're smart. So the contractor's worth $57 million for Tucker. They have to pay $62 million luxury tax on that one contract.
Yeah, they got money to burn, man.
Just absolutely amazing. Now, by virtue of the signing of Kyle Tucker, Dodgers have given up their second, third, fifth, and sixth round draft picks and forfeited $1 million in this coming year's international money fee. But money is no object there. Is he a player? Yes. He's a unique personality. I had a Houston guy that I network with tell me he's a really good player. And when he wasn't dinged up, he's a really, really solid player. But he's not a leader. And he doesn't want to be pinpointed as being the star and the leader. Now, he'll fit perfectly in L.A. because L.A.'s got the galaxy of stars led by Ohtani to Betts to Freddie Freeman, etc. So he'll fit in. This is my role, and if he stays healthy with a great batting order around him, that's a hell of an acquisition. But he's not front of center. Here's the flag, follow me.
Yeah, he's never been that guy.
No. So it's a really good acquisition. And indirectly, there is so much negative response towards the evil empire that the Dodgers, by virtue of this acquisition, it's going to lead to a work stoppage at the end of the season. All the other owners are so up in arms that they're gonna shut baseball down until they can get some form of a salary cap and a floor to spending, which you and I have talked extensively about. So you enjoy 2026 because I don't think there's going to be a 2027 at least at the onset. That's it. If Andrew Friedman sees this podcast and sees your reference to Dodger baseball, you won't be getting a Christmas card.
I know Andrew Friedman subscribes to the podcast and gets all the updates from you. Yes, you're his analytics team.
Yeah.
No, this was a crazy signing, and the average annual value was like $60 million. That's got to be the tops, right? Ever? That's more than, on a per year basis. Mm-hmm. So now I need you to clear up this. I'm not sure if this is a fact or this is conspiracy theory, but it was making the rounds online that apparently when Frank McCourt owned the Dodgers and they were going through a divorce settlement and he was in bankruptcy and he was having serious financial difficulty, the story is that MLB wanted to avoid the embarrassment of one of their teams going bankrupt and having all of their books exposed, that they ended up giving McCourt a sweetheart deal, which gives him 100% of the revenue that they get from their local TV contract. They don't have to do revenue share like other teams do. And so they got a sweetheart special deal, and that's part of the reason why they're spending so much more.
I'm not sure that McCourt gets 100% of the TV revenue. He gets a slice. He does get a big slice of a portion of the parking lot revenue at Dodger Stadium. So maybe there's a little bit of truth in both, but obviously there was money there, but he was forced out. He was forced to sell because baseball was not going to let this thing go into bankruptcy, and that's where Guggenheim came in and bought the thing. Mm-hmm. And obviously McCourt was allowed to leave in disgrace, but he would get revenue streams per se. Now, he's never done anything with the parking lot because City of Los Angeles refuses to approve his, quote, gondola project.
Oh, and yeah, that's right.
Half the world's still in resentment of the McCourts taking all Dodger profits and funneling it into what was called a blue fund for their own personal expenses. They were never forgiven. So that's what led to the demise of McCourt as an owner. Okay, checkbook baseball. Good or bad for baseball? You agree with me? This is going to be the end result. What the Dodgers just did to get Kyle Tucker, very, very good player, is going to lead to a work stoppage until the owners can figure out how to come up with something like a salary cap, luxury tax, and a floor to spend. I think the landscape of baseball has to change for 2027. Okay, we go from that. The other team we always talk about, Angel Baseball.
Angel Baseball, you got some names on the big board.
Angels. Shopping at Dollar Tree. Yeah. Okay. The Angels, according to my lists, have now acquired 16 players in the offseason, all at low budget prices. Angels are still some $38 million beneath last year's salary structure. Have they improved themselves? Well, they just made a three-way trade with the Reds and Tampa Bay to get Josh Lowe, outfielder, a really good athlete. Only hit .220 last season. He's had injury problems. But Josh Lowe is going to be maybe their starting center fielder. He covers a lot of ground. If they can build him back up and keep him healthy, maybe he'll hit back to where he first hit when he got to Tampa, when he was hitting in the 260s. We talked about they were the first ones that made deals in the offseason and got Grayson Rodriguez, Baltimore. Now, he spent a year and a half trying to get healthy from surgeries. They think green light go. Alek Manoah. He came from Toronto on a one-year contract. He was a vibrant pitcher. Shoulder problems, hasn't been the same guy last 2 years. Vaughn Grissom, once upon a time, real hot prospect. Atlanta, went to Boston, never succeeded. Red Sox traded him to the Halos. He's going to get a kick at the can, maybe to be their second baseman. He's got to prove he can hit. We know about Drew Pomeranz and his history. If he's healthy, he's competitive, but he's not been healthy. Jordan Romano is with the Phillies. Toronto as a closer, okay, solid. Is he a Cy Young Rolaids Award winner? No, but he's solid. And then Kirby Yates, once upon a time, was a pretty good closer. He's got such a history of injury. So they're shopping at Dollar Tree. Every one of these guys came on a cheapo contract. They're still $38 million beneath last year's payroll, and they're acting as if everything is beautiful. So you tell me, you're an Angel fan? They've acquired 16 guys. Those are the marquee guys. And out of that group, Rodriguez has a track record with injury. Manoah had done well. Pomeranz has track record but injured. And Romano needs to be where Romano used to be. And I don't know if Yates can ever be what he was. He's had so many surgeries. John, what do you think about Halo baseball?
It's just weird. It's like all these names. I mean, they're dudes that have a track record, have had success, but they're just sort of like nothing sexy, nothing to get you fired up, you know? I see Drew Pomeranz's name up there, and I'm still bitter. I feel like he robbed the Padres on that deal. And then you were even referring to him as a Rolaids relief guy. Does Rolaids still sponsor the relief player? They do.
Yeah, relief face of the year.
They do.
But do you see anybody that's a difference maker there?
No, that's my point, is that none of these guys are, I'm excited. Like, I'm going out, buying season tickets, I'm getting my pennant and my flag. Not at all.
Okay, Angel fans forum chat box is open. We give you the data. We ask you to respond. We go from that. Let's look at the baseball notebook.
Baseball notebook. Teams making last-minute deals.
This was a real reactionary move by the New York Mets on Friday. Bo Bichette signs a mega contract to go play second base for the Mets or maybe third base. He's never played third base before. The Mets have really been active. They've made a lot of changes. I don't think they're a better team right now. I mean, there is no Pete Alonso, and they got rid of Brandon Nimmo. It's just not the same team. If Bochette's healthy, it's obvious Bochette can hit. But they want him to play third base. He's never played third ever. His defensive metrics in the infield, on the left side of the infield, are not real good. So that was interesting. Most of the marquee names are off the board now in free agency. The one that's still out there is Cody Bellinger. And the Yankees have just had dialogue. Let's talk. No, we're at an impasse. No, we're not going farther. No, don't call me. We're not going to do add-ons. Yankees have offered Bellinger 5 years, $155 million. Willing to throw an opt-out or two in, but they're not willing to do any more than that. I don't know where Bellinger's going to go. I mean, he put his trust in Scott Boras, and he's still unsigned, and most everybody has spent all their money. So we'll wait and see if there's a Bellinger decision this week. Orioles, they've really been active. And now this is kind of weird. The left hand says, okay, you offered Framber Valdez of Houston a 3-year deal. Pretty good money. I think it's maybe 3 years, $90 million for Valdez, who's age 34. Didn't get a response. So the right hand says, you're calling Justin Verlander, the 42-year-old pitcher? He's got all these wins, but at one point was 1-10 last year in San Francisco, though he finished up strong. If they can't get Valdez, they may sign Verlander to be a back-of-the-rotation guy, so that bears watching. And Atlanta, man, this is tough. They've had a really very active offseason. They re-signed Ha-Seong Kim, the popular Padre, and he goes out in Korea at the end of last week, working out, tears tendons in his middle finger. Emergency surgery, gone 4 to 5 months. Won't be back till probably June.
Brutal.
Big setback there. So there we are. The Mets do something. Is it the right acquisition? Yankees are kind of drawing a line in the sand with Bellinger. Where the hell is Bellinger going to go if he can't go to the Yankees? And we'll talk about the other acquisitions. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, it makes you wonder with the Bellinger deal because, how high are these salaries going to go? I mean, obviously Ohtani and then Soto are kind of in a different, stratosphere.
And now Tucker, too.
And Tucker. But if you just take, one of your top 20 guys, I don't know, is Bellinger top 20, something like that, kind of makes you wonder how far can they push the envelope? At what point would Major League Baseball suddenly say, no mas, this is as much as we've got?
No, unless there's a salary cap, nobody will say no mas. But that's why there probably is now going to, sadly, be a work stoppage at the end of 2026. But Bellinger, I mean, he's 31 years of age. He was asking 7 years, $210. Nobody's going to give a 31-year-old guy 7 years. His track record's been good, bad, etc. But he got a 5-year offer.
Peter Seidler would give him that.
He got 5 years at $31 million per. That's not bad. Except the agent wants more. Well, the agent wants an add-on.
Yeah, but the agent, that's their job. The agent's going to try to maximize the value for their client. That's fine. But I don't know. I mean, are there other options, I
don't think who's out there now?
Well, that could happen, like the Yankees say, oh, the hell with you, Bellinger. We're going to sign someone else. And then suddenly, where's Bellinger going to go? I mean, he's going to be looking around. There's musical chairs, and they're all taken.
Yeah, exactly. So that's where we are. You got a comment about the Mets versus the Yankees. And here's the bottom line. Baseball teams who used to be known as the evil empire because they spent and spent and spent are so upset at the Dodgers. Now the Mets and the Yankees are the ones that are whining about salary structure. And they were the original evil empires. Now they're talking evil empire pointing to the West Coast Dodger
well,
baseball.
because it's making them look bad.
Yeah.
Because they're not ponying up the same as L.A.
Okay. Feel free. You got an opinion, fans forum, chat box is open. Let's change topics. Shooting 3-point baskets here.
It was a hell of a game. Aztecs, New Mexico, they're red hot, man.
San Diego State, they've figured it out. Now, caution to the wind here, pal. They got to go on the road.
Yeah.
They got to go to Albuquerque. They got to go to Utah State. They still got to play Vegas away. So, I mean, there's a bunch of road games coming, and it actually is going to start this week. But, boy, hell of a game against Eric Olin and what New Mexico brought into town with all those San Diego kids playing for him. It was a really good basketball game. But Miles Bird, 21. Pharaoh Compton, Taj DeGorville combined for 23 more. Now, Magoon Guat's got a hip issue again, so he had to come out of the lineup. But they're playing more rugged defense. They're hitting threes. Reese Waters seems to have found his touch. And we got half a season in the Mountain West Conference to go. So this Aztec team looks like it's coming together. 12-4 on the season, but they do have a bunch of road games here in a very rugged conference.
Yeah, but it's like right there in front of them, you know? I mean, we expected the world of this team. They got off to a tough start, but they're figuring things out. And, Bird didn't just have 21 points. I don't have the numbers, but the dude had a ton of rebounds, assists, steals, blocks.
He played complete game.
That's the guy that the NBA wants to draft, a guy that can impact the flow of the game. I mean, he was spectacular.
If they're going to get into the top 25 in the ratings, Miles Bird has to be that type of Miles Bird every game going forward in the Mountain West Conference.
Yeah. And by the way, I just got to give it up. Eric Olin is doing a hell of a job. I mean, taking that whole program over, he started from ground zero.
Right.
And, he's got all these San Diego kids, and that Hall kid that's from Carlsbad is really good as a freshman. So he's got a lot to be proud of, a lot to build on, but I'm going to miss this rivalry.
Yep. Okay, let's go from that to the Lady Aztecs.
Oh,
nobody's talking about this. How about San Diego State's Lady Aztecs? They are 8-0 in the Mountain West. Everybody in the Mountain West is glad to see you leave. They're 8-0, 14-3 on the season. They've won 10 in a row. And I've followed Lady Aztec basketball peripherally for a whole bunch of years. I've never seen a women's team shoot threes like this collection that Coach Houston has put together. They had 14 threes the other night against New Mexico. 14 threes.
Hell yeah.
So they're really playing well. And
Chicks can hoop.
The Lady Aztecs threw an all-time record 8,000 plus.
That's awesome.
That's really cool. So we're cooking. Aztec men have come together. Aztec women are really, really good. You're into basketball, feel free to join us. Let's go from that. Let's talk NBA.
Okay, now we're going Lakers-Clippers. Good basketball or bad basketball?
Somebody needs to explain the psyche of Laker basketball. All right, granted, they won the other night against Toronto. For the first time in a while, everybody was back. Luka scored. LeBron scored. DeAndre Ayton, 23 points, 12 rebounds, went 10 for 10 from the floor.
Yeah.
But the game before, he had 2 baskets.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
he can be good when he wants to.
So erratic. So everybody's going crazy because the Lakers beat Toronto. It's the same team that lost to Sacramento, lost to Charlotte, lost to Portland. In the last week, the Lakers gave up 124, 132, and 135. You're not sales pitching me that this is a great team yet, are you? Please. So anyhow, that's where we are, Laker basketball. I just question pride, professionalism. I question chemistry. I question the coach. I question commitment to defense because I don't see anything consistent about Laker basketball.
You're questioning everything.
I mean, I'm sorry you like French pastry. So they had a good game against Toronto. Does that wash away crapola performances against Sacramento, Charlotte, and Portland?
No, it doesn't. No, it's just a weird season for them.
Yeah. Clippers. Do you remember 6-23? That was their record to start.
Yeah, that was ugly.
They've won 12 of 14.
Hell yeah.
I mean, they are just playing lights out. Lots of minutes for the starters. And now Kawhi Leonard is out. Kawhi Leonard's got tendonitis that's flared in the knee, and he's got a sprained ankle. So I don't know if they can continue this bounce back, but boy, they have really bounced back. Okay, so defend yourself because you like French pastry Laker style, and talk Clippers if you wish.
Well, a couple of things. Number one is that in our last podcast episode, you talked about the LeBron's agent. What was his name? Rich Paul.
Yes.
And making the comments about trading Austin Reeves, excuse me. And it was interesting to hear the reaction from people on social media to that video clip because they're just saying, look, it's all everything to do with LeBron is a problem, you know, and there's a lot of Laker fans that are they're convinced that he is the thing that's making him not work, even though he puts up stats on the stat sheet.
Yeah, I concur with you that there seems to be a lot of LeBron hate. I don't quite understand it. What LeBron really needs to do in his final year, probably in the NBA, is just tell Rich Paul to shut up. The agent has no right to talk about another player represented by a different agent and say he should be traded.
Well, apparently Reeves is on the last year of his deal.
Yeah, he can opt out and be a free agent.
Yeah, so he's going to get paid. He's going to move teams anyways.
Well, I don't know if he's going to move teams. He can stay there. They can re-sign him and give him max contract. But what right does that agent have to say they should trade this player who's repped by another agent?
Yeah, well, he has the right to say it, but it's just very bad form, you know, for that. But by the way, I also want to say this, is that I like the way the NBA has really embraced MLK Day. Have you noticed that? And like they got a full lineup of games all throughout the day today. And I thought, yeah, that's cool. I mean, I just think this holiday should be a bigger holiday.
Yeah, I concur with you. Okay, that's basketball. You got an opinion, jump on board. Last topic on the table. Man, there's a lot of stuff here at Hot Headlines.
You were like sending me texts. Guys, one more to add here. Look at all those logos.
This is a unique story. We'll start with the Chicago White Sox. Do you remember Wilbur Wood?
I do.
Wilbur Wood just passed away. He's 84 years of age. Wilbur Wood was a journeyman pitcher who taught himself to throw a knuckleball.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, in this day and age of pitch counts and guys go 4 innings or 5 innings and turn over the bullpen, how about these stats on Wilbur Wood? Wilbur Wood, in a 4-year span in the early 70s, after he mastered the knuckleball, in a 4-year span, averaged 336 innings a year.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, you think?
That's crazy. I mean, they don't even get above 200 now.
He averaged 45 starts a year for 4 straight years throwing the knuckleball.
That's a 4-man rotation.
He won 20 games 4 years in a row for the White Sox throwing the knuckleball.
Good for him.
In 1 year, in 1972, he had 376 innings. 376 innings in one season. Broke a record that had been set back in 1917, back in the day.
It's like Walter Johnson.
Yeah. They timed his knuckleball at 45 miles an hour.
Cool.
They asked him about it. He said, no, I throw 90. He said, I said 45. Well, we said, it's 45 leaving the mound, and the catcher throws it 45 back to me. That's 90 miles an hour. Unbelievable pitcher. Wilbur Wood has passed away at the age of 84. He went to the White Sox desperate as a hanger-on, and he met Hoyt Wilhelm, Hall of Fame knuckleball pitcher.
Yeah.
And Hoyt Wilhelm taught him how to throw the knuckleball. And he was not a kid. He was an older pitcher at that time. Just absolutely amazing. So Wilbur Wood has passed away. College basketball, Air Force Academy. This is really bad. This has got depths of real problems. Air Force has suspended outspoken basketball coach Joe Scott, who did a really good job in a tough set of circumstances for a bunch of years at the academy. He's been suspended for abuse of cadet basketball athletes. They're not saying anything beyond that, but I think he's done. He's got a really big problem. L.A. Kings, Anaheim Ducks. They played each other back-to-back. I'm waiting for the Kings to fire their coach. They have lost 14 of their last 19, and Jim Hillier is still the head coach. Half the team's not scoring goals. They're just not competitive, and yet they got a really high payroll. The Ducks, who had a 9-game losing streak, the Ducks kids beat the Kings back-to-back this past weekend in the NHL. New York Rangers. Did you get a letter? No, you didn't get a letter. You're not a Ranger season ticket holder. I got a friend who is a New York Ranger season ticket holder. Their general manager, Chris Drury, over the weekend sent a season ticket letter to all the fans saying, we are going to retool this franchise now. Rangers have been substandard all season, despite a really high payroll. They're evidently going to trade Artemi Panarin, Mika Zibanejad, JT Miller, Fox, and maybe even a goaltender, Shesterkin, who's a really good player. But the Rangers, I think, are going to clear the deck. So Chris Drury sends this letter to the fans telling them, this is what you can expect. We're going to retool this team. Soccer. SDFC soap opera continues. Mikey Veras, press conference Friday, again asked about the whole Chucky Lozano situation. He says that's not a distraction. Says we are committed to the decision we made. And we have told the agent and we've told the player what we're going to do because it's our decision. This came 24 hours after Lozano said he wanted to practice with the team. He wanted to give him a spot to make the team again. Mikey Veras says absolutely not. PGA Golf Tour, with stepping aside from the whole situation where Brooks Koepka is allowed to come back to the PGA. Quite a story in Cleveland this weekend. Nick Faldo, unbelievably popular, great global golfer, rushed to the Cleveland Clinic. Open heart surgery. They saved his life. Really sick man. NASCAR. This is a real crap story. We talked last month about the terrible death of Greg Biffle, the NASCAR driver who was a private pilot. Plane crash trying to make an emergency landing. Killed him, his wife, the 2 kids. 7 people total died. This past week, while they're having a memorial service in Charlotte, people broke into Biffle's house. Stole a whole bunch of things from his estate.
That's low.
Nice country we live in, isn't it? And it must be the start of the Formula One season because we got more drama. Sir Lewis Hamilton, all things Ferrari, they're about to begin preseason testing and practice this coming week, and Ferrari just fired their lead engineer who works with Lewis Hamilton. You're doing it right now before the season starts, before testing starts. When you do it at the end of the season, hire the right guy, get everything in place so you can test and be ready when the season starts. I don't know. They live in a different world. The drama in F1 from Red Bull and Max Verstappen to Lewis Hamilton, happy, love me not. My God, I hate it. We're failing. It's crazy. Okay, so John, a lot of off-seed stuff. You'd be a good knuckleball pitcher. You can't do anything else, but you'd be a good knuckleball pitcher.
Yeah, this is like a grab bag of all these different sports here. By the way, I remember Wilbur Wood because I had his baseball card, and I was like in 74 or 75, and he was with the White Sox, and I remember on the back side, they give you all the stats and info, and the very top, there would be like a little cartoon or something, a drawing, and it said that he started both games of a doubleheader one time,
and lost them both to the Yankees.
He did.
He got knocked out in the first inning at Yankee Stadium, and so they lose the first game. He goes to the manager and says, "Well, I threw 33 pitches in the first inning, and so he started him in the second game. He got beat again in the second game." But that's the kind of guy he was.
But it's great though that knuckleball pitchers are like they're like Paul Bunyan. They're like these mythical creatures, these crafty magicians of lore, and how they learned the craft of the knuckleball and
takes
all of
forever.
I'm sure. I mean, it's got to be really hard. So, I mean, I just think it's a neat story because every one of these knuckleballer guys, I mean, Wakefield's a hero in Boston, and we can go back and talk about Necro and everybody else, but what a story. And the other story on that list is that NASCAR thing, people going in and ripping off Biffle's estate while they're having, I mean, that is low class, man. I mean, what is up with that?
This is the country we live in.
Crazy.
Unbelievable. Okay, those are topics on the table. Now it's your turn to take over the rest of this podcast. You got an hour to respond to what we put out here. The Fans Forum chat box is open again. John, for people who are watching us on the live stream, how do they access the Fans Forum so they can jump into the rotation?
A lot of already there right now. We're going to get to you. If you got a comment or question for Hacksaw, drop your hot take in the live chat on YouTube, X, or Facebook. We'll get you involved.
Okay. Fans Forum brought to you by Dixieline Lumber and Home Centers. Been in business for more than 100 years in San Diego. Got projects? They got materials. Go to Dixieline.com to see all the things they have to offer. I'm ready. Are you ready? Go ahead. I'm just leave it to you. Let's just roar through this.
Okay, let's get going here. We'll start with Lone Bolt. And he says, hey, is the cloud hanging over Justin Herbert's playoff career less gloomy after the poor performances of Stroud and Allen?
Well, Stroud freaks out. Stroud makes a lot of mistakes. You have 7 turnovers in 2 playoff games. I mean, that's a death knell to your franchise. Josh Allen does not have a history of critical turnovers, but maybe it's just a case of him trying to do too much, or maybe it's just a case he doesn't have enough around him up in Buffalo. I might be the only one in the world that is standing in front as a shield to Justin Herbert, because the whole damn world of Charger fans is blaming him. He's 0-3 in postseason, but that if you watch that game closely, he got killed because they would not pass protect. He got killed because Greg Roman refused to change stuff at the line of scrimmage to go max blocking packages or quick releases, slants, out patterns, tempo. That was all on Greg Roman. That's all on Jim Harbaugh, the CEO. It's a lot less on the courage and the character of Justin Herbert. Am I right or am I right?
It's, you'll never blame Justin Herbert.
Well, in this case, no.
Mm-hmm. I mean, because you can't, really, if you were to be objective, if you were a fly on the wall in the quarterback room, he makes mistakes. Not a lot, but, he's not blameless in this whole thing. And granted, from our perspective, yeah, we can call out Greg Roman and we can call out the injuries in the offensive line, but, it's just, I think we need to have a more realistic expectation of Herbert. He's got to bear responsibility. He is the quarterback, right? They get the credit or they get the blame, but somehow he avoids the blame.
The play calls were terrible. There are ways to offset your struggles in the offensive front, and they did not do anything on behalf of that guy. I think Greg Roman, Jim Harbaugh betrayed Justin Herbert. Got to fix that offensive line and come with a different offensive coordinator package that fits his strength, not stand in the pocket and get your ass kicked. He led the league. He took 60 sacks this season.
Yeah, he did.
105 sacks in 2 years. Led the league in hits, led the league in pressures. How's this on him? It's on what he's being told to do by the coordinator upstairs and by his head coach standing on the sideline trying to play tough guy.
He is a tough guy. I'll give him that, man. And that guy is a freaking warrior.
I agree. Okay, we move on. Thanks for joining us.
Okay, let's go here to HB949 Jeff. Hey, brilliant move by the Bears. They had a 4th and 2 at the Rams' 21-yard line on their first possession. It did not kick a field goal. Huge mistake.
Well, they got running backs, and at 4th and 2, you figure you can power the football, and then you'll just keep the drive going, and you'd rather have 7 than you would 3 at this point in time. But, boy, the Rams manned up. Rams made plays defensively at the point of attack that I didn't think they were capable of making after getting pushed all over the field. When you have 3 4th down stops, and they were all close-in plays, and you have a total of 4 drives that you stop at the 1, the 2, the 20, and the 33, that's a hell of a performance by your defense. So the Rams really played well. And I don't fault Caleb as much except for the last pass where you're throwing the football because that guy was never open. And, if you give up the football in overtime and you're allowing Matthew Stafford to get on a short field, that's a death knell.
Yeah, it was interesting, a Rams playoff game in the snow again.
Yeah.
We saw that within Philly. It's fun to watch Caleb Williams. You could see why he is a legitimate number 1 pick. And Bears fans have got to be thrilled. They've got like a legit quarterback for the first time in forever.
Yep.
There's a lot to be happy about, but, Bear fans I know are suffering right now.
They're suffering, but phenomenal statistical season, a lot of accomplishment, really good roster building in Chicago. So
hell of a head coach.
Yeah, look forward to next season. And I made the comment this past week on the Thursday podcast. young quarterback, you got to walk down that hallway the first time in the playoffs and understand the pressures and what's going to happen to you. So Caleb Williams just walked down that hallway and threw 3 picks and had all those drives stall. He'll be a better quarterback by virtue of what he just experienced. But no, the arrow's pointed up.
Now, as far as the Rams go, do you think they're going to beat the Seahawks on the road next week?
It's going to be really hard. Really hard. But one of the running backs is gone. Seattle just lost Zach Charbonnet for the rest of the playoffs with knee surgery this morning. So they're down one running back. But the Rams are going to have a massive defensive effort. But keep in mind, Darnold, with the oblique injury, those things don't heal overnight. He'll be limited in practice again this week. I tell you, the Rams take no prisoners in terms of pass rush. He's going to get knocked around. So that's a pick-em game. We'll talk more about that on Thursday. Okay. Thanks for joining us, 89.
Okay, let's go to Casey. He goes, I have Indiana beating Miami tonight, 33-20. And as I see it being close in the first half, and then by mid-third quarter, I see Indiana starting to pull away.
Typical IU football. We're just going to stand there and slug with you, and by the third quarter, you're going to be wiped out. I don't see how Miami hangs in there in any type of line of scrimmage game. Miami's pass rush is really good. I just don't know how Miami can keep people off that quarterback, and I don't know how they're going to be able to run the football against Indiana's front. So I think it's lopsided. I was hoping somebody would respond that this game is really out of place on my sports calendar. This thing should be in the granddaddy of them all in the Rose Bowl for the championship game on January 1.
You know, this whole time of the year, the sports calendar has changed a lot over the decades. I mean, the Super Bowl used to be like the first half of January.
Yep.
Now it's like freaking almost like Valentine's Day when they have the Super Bowl. So it's the whole schedule is nuts. But yeah, I mean, if they were to put this final game, and why not the Rose Bowl? That sounds like a good enough place. Not because we're from California, SoCal, but that's legit. That's like a legendary, like a Hall of Fame stadium. Why not have it there? So, and then wrap it up by the end of the year, and then you kind of figure out your recruiting calendars. I mean, they could clean up a lot of this mess.
They still had a lot of work to do in terms of cleaning problems up. Okay, thank you for joining us. It'll be a fun game, but this game should have been played on New Year's Day in Rose Bowl.
All right. Okay, let's go here to Michael. You go, hey, what's the latest update on all the starting pitching free agents?
There's hardly anybody left. That's the big question. Who's left out there? Zach Gallen is left out there, but there's draft pick compensation. Does a team want to give up a draft pick for Zach Gallen because he was given a qualifying offer? That's an issue. There might be a few guys, not many, available for trade. Freddie Peralta, everybody's calling Milwaukee, and that'd be a one-year rental at $8 million. That's a value acquisition, but Milwaukee's not giving him away. Milwaukee is the only team. I'm going to bring my updated rosters for baseball because I keep track of every transaction club by club. I'm going to bring it and show it to you. Milwaukee's the only team in baseball has not had a transaction. Cleveland's done nothing. Milwaukee has no names in my box for Brewer acquisitions or deletions.
Everyone's playing the waiting game, it seems.
Well, but all the marquee guys are gone.
What about Framber Valdez?
Well, he's still out there, and Baltimore has offered him, but agents playing 5-year contract. Nobody's going to give a 34-year-old pitcher a 5-year contract.
Well, I would say, but he's one of the names, right?
Yeah. Valdez and Bellinger are the two names.
Isn't it funny, though, how Verlander, people still keep throwing money at that guy?
But it's minimum money. I think he finished up making $5 million last year with the Giants. And at one point, he was 1-10. But I think his contract was 1.5 with incentives. Well, he had a really good second half of the season. Old dog pitched really well.
Yeah, if you still love it and they're willing to pay you, why not? You know, and it doesn't matter where you pitch. It seems at this point, we always think of him as an Astro.
Yeah.
But, you know, right now he's just, you know, he's a mercenary.
Yeah. So there's not very many left out there, which to me complicates the Padre deal. How do they acquire when there's not a hell of a lot out there? The Peralta is evidently going to be traded, so he's going to wind up somewhere. Just where remains to be seen. The Milwaukee pitcher. Okay, thanks, Mike.
Okay, let's go here to who is that? A99. Hey, are the NFL OT rules in the playoffs different than the regular season?
Oh, good question. There's been so much controversy about catches, non-catches, instant replay. Was this evaluated? They've changed it a little bit to make it better in terms of the booth upstairs and overtime. does all the reviews. It's not a challengeable thing. Now, there was huge questions in the aftermath of the Brandon Cooks catch interception in that Denver game that they rushed through it. Big controversy. You're rushing through the most critical call in an overtime playoff game because the second game of the doubleheader is about to start on TV. That's unfair. So, but they have made changes in terms of booth reviews once the game goes to overtime.
I think he's onto something because they either were different for a period of time or they still are different. But I'm not exactly certain. But one thing I will say is this. The NFL overtime rules are crap. The whole thing is just a disaster. I mean, before it used to be first team scores, sudden death. And, is that fair, unfair? We can debate that. But it was clean. It was easy. You understood,
Well, now it's each guy gets a possession. Game over.
But if the first team scores a touchdown, then the other team still gets a possession. But if it's a field goal, it's a different one. I don't like it. It's confusing. So I'm saying switch to the college football format. That works.
Don't put the ball in at the 25-yard line. That's a gimmick.
No, it's not a gimmick. It's what they have now is not logical.
What's not logical? You score a touchdown, I get a possession. If I score a touchdown, we kick off and we keep playing. What's illogical about that?
I don't know. Why don't they just go the full quarter? I mean, I don't know. I just think it's a mess. As a fan, I just think that the college football OT is so exciting. It really is.
Gimmicks.
No,
gimmicks.
It's not. No.
You like French pastry gimmicks. Okay, next one.
Okay, go to Nathan. He goes, look like the receiver quit the route.
He's talking about the interception at the end. I thought he let up on the route. But Caleb made the decision to throw the ball, and that safety was in front of the receiver. And the receiver kind of maybe gave up. But maybe the turf was frozen, and the receiver was losing his footing, so he didn't have the explosiveness as he ran that crossing pattern. Nobody's raised the question too much about the fact, why did that receiver pull up on the route? Or, should the receiver have, as Caleb went to the right, should the receiver have broken the pattern and come back towards Caleb and get him a more direct shot? But the Rams' safety was there. Coverage was unbelievable.
Yeah, it was great coverage. I mean, Curl made a hell of a catch. But, it's interesting how complex the game is, and a lot of these are timing routes. You expect your guy to be in that spot at that time,
and the wind is blowing and the field is frozen.
Yeah, but still the expectation is the same. But it seemed that when Moore was turning the corner, he wasn't really looking at the quarterback. And by the time that he recognized that the ball had been thrown to his direction, it was already too late. Mm-hmm. So for whatever, it's overtime. They're hella tired, but I just think quite literally he took his eyes off the ball.
Well, I don't think he was the primary receiver, and Caleb had pressure all around him. Caleb had to move up into the pocket a little bit, and he just had to get the ball out. And it may be that DJ Moore was not the lead receiver, but Caleb had to throw it, otherwise he was going to take a sack. Or he could have thrown it away, but Rams defense stood up. Holy cow! You get 4 stops inside your own 30 on downs.
Yeah,
that's tremendous.
Those guys they're legit. Yep. There's more Rams talk from Javi. Hey, Rams survived. No Caleb Williams once in a lifetime play delayed the inevitable. Sorry, I know you're not happy, Hacksaw.
Who's not happy?
He thinks you're a Rams hater.
Hell no! If I had an MVP vote, it'd go to Stafford. I could maybe a Rams hater. My heart was broken when I saw Caleb Williams do this and backpedal almost to the 50-yard line and then just throw it up and then complete it for a touchdown. Holy cow, I couldn't believe my eyes. I almost fell off the couch. But no, I'm not a Rams hater at all. I think McVay is spectacular. I think Les Snead is a roster builder, is a hell of a player personnel guru, and I'm just the biggest fan. I'm not supposed to cheer in the press box, but I cheer for Matthew Stafford because I think he's a real warrior. It's right there in front of them. I mean, they could be going back to the Super Bowl for a 3rd time.
Oh, yeah.
Since they moved to L.A.
Yeah. Hey, and full disclosure, I'm a Ram hater. I'm a 49er faithful, man.
Okay.
Yeah, so
violate the rule.
Yeah, I know, but I'll just say this. We like to poke fun at our friends to the north up in L.A., the evil empire, the Dodgers and everything else. seriously though, I mean, the Dodgers, the Lakers, I mean, the Lakers not so much, but certainly the Dodgers and the Rams are legit organizations.
Sure.
You know, with first-class leadership, they've got quality character guys throughout the lineup. I mean, they've got great coaches. I mean, those teams are built to win, you know? And so to me, it's not surprising that the Rams won. I mean, I was kind of rooting for the kid, Caleb Williams, and everything else, but, you know, they move on, but I'm going to be rooting for the Seahawks. I think that's a better story than the Rams. Don't you?
I think, well, they're going to renew this bitter rivalry. It's really a bitter rivalry.
That's
and,
great.
And from the Rams standpoint, you know, there has to, I mean, they're earning this. But they still have to have, my God, the regrets. They could be the home field team for the entire NFC in the sunshine, not going back up there to that madhouse with the 12th man and all that stuff.
Well, yeah, and the 49ers could have been that too.
Exactly.
You know, but good on Seattle. They won the number one spot, and all roads are going to go through, what is it, Pike's Market? Is that what it's called up there?
Well, that's where the market is.
That's where they throw the fish around.
Yeah, it's Lumen Field.
Okay.
Yeah, on Pioneer Square. Okay, thanks for being with us. Now, I'm not anti-Ram at all. I have great regard and respect, top to bottom, for who they are, what they've become.
Okay. Just a quick shout-out from Chris. Hacksaw, great content.
Damn right.
Yeah, damn right. Okay, let's go to John. Because I'm still digesting the Bills firing Sean McDermott. I don't think he'll be out of work for long. Seahawks and Patriots in the Super Bowl. Will IU Miami be a game or a blowout?
I think IU Miami will be over by the third quarter. I just think the sledgehammer way they play football, they got too many great players. And this has been fascinating to see what Miami's doing, how they're getting there, and they're doing it very differently. They're doing it with their defense. They're not doing it with what the Canes used to be way back in the day, the Schnellenberger era, the Jimmy Johnson era, etc. The Bills firing, I don't know, that's a phenomenal coach. Like I said at the onset of this podcast, John, I mean, when would you ever think we'd have 3 successful coaches lose their job in a span of about 10 days? Harbaugh, Tomlin, and now McDermott. I mean, it's just absolutely stunning.
Yeah, you got to just win, baby.
Yeah.
If you ain't winning, you ain't putting, seats in the stands. You're not selling merch,
I wonder how quickly McDermott resurfaces.
He's a defensive guy, though, is he?
Yeah. Does this change Baltimore's thoughts of things? Does he suddenly become available in Baltimore? Miami knows him well. Would Miami change what they're doing there and interview McDermott? We have not heard yet.
I'm sure that's going to happen
where
somewhere.
McDermott's going. Does Pittsburgh change its mind? Because they've always hired defensive personas. Do they go get him? Except Pittsburgh is meeting tomorrow with Mike McCarthy. They've already met with Jesse Minter. So we still got a lot of jobs out there. But think about that, 10 coaching changes in the NFL.
Yeah, that's just insane.
Yeah.
I mean, it's and it is wild the way this whole thing is spinning. But I'm sure there's some emergency meeting in the boardroom, and they're all, do we interview McDermott? How do we see him stack ranked against the guys that they sort of had their second interview with? Because some of these teams are getting close to the finish line and making decisions.
Buffalo, great roster. Baltimore, great roster.
Yeah, both great quarterbacks.
Yeah. Now, Raiders, number 1 pick in cap space, but they are the Raiders. Arizona's a mess. Tennessee, quarterback in place, but not a really great roster. And they've failed on all their coaching hires more recently. Miami, new guy comes in. He's still got to deal with the Tua issue. We still got to deal with Tyreek. So it's going to be fascinating. And, of course, Cleveland's Cleveland. You still got Deshaun Watson there.
That's a mess.
Bring your rosary beads and holy water. John, good to have you on board. Thanks, man.
All right, let's go to Richard. Fans Forum. Hey, corporate sports media is dead. YouTube is my go-to now. The morning drive shows are filled with grab-ass talk. Just get to the sports takes. Ben and Woods is what's wrong with sports radio.
Yeah, sports radio's changed. I wish it was different, but it's just a different era, different time. It'd be cool if you're on a big signal doing what we did, and we were very successful at doing what we did. This is fascinating. John keeps tabs of all the metrics, how many subscribers we have on the YouTube channel, how many people sample us on Instagram and Facebook and all the other channels that we're on. Just absolutely amazing.
Hey, we're bringing you along into the 21st century.
Not bad for somebody who's still got a Royal manual typewriter in his garage.
I know, exactly. You probably use the Gutenberg printing press, the whole thing. But I'll just say this. I'm not going to bag on Ben and Woods. Those guys are great. I mean, they're great at what they do. Their format's different than what we do. But, you know, I mean, those guys, they were just out at the fantasy camp. I think Ben Woods was...
Is that really freaking important? I mean, NFL playoff games, coaches getting fired, and all they want to do is
but they're very
Padre baseball.
Yeah, it's Padre talk, you know, and it's part of that.
Do we really need it? Is there any depth to that content? No.
Well, no, but they have a very loyal following. They do.
So that's great. So do I.
Yeah. So do you. You do it your own way, and I like that.
Now, if you don't like them, you got us. We're here Mondays and Thursdays at 1:30. Thank you.
Okay. We got to go down the list here. Oh, let's go to Carlos. How about those L.A. Rams? I know you guys are anti-L.A. teams and are more than likely cheering for the Seahawks. Well, I am, but not you.
I like the Rams. I like the Dodgers. We refer to them jokingly, tongue-in-cheek, evil empire, but that fits what everybody else thinks about them too. But no, I'm not anti-LA. You know, I want to see them do well. Big Padre guy. I want the Padres to do well. I want the Padres and Dodgers in the baseball playoffs again. I don't know that that's going to happen the way baseball's structured right now, but isn't it interesting? People watch this podcast. People read my columns, my one-man's opinion columns on my website every day, and they think I'm anti-this, anti-that. Where's that come from? We present all the topics on the table. When have I ever said anything negative about the Rams recently? I've praised Stafford's courage.
There's not much to say negative about them.
Where'd that come from?
No, but it's just that's how they are. I mean, they do that with other sports fans or other announcers as well. You know, whenever the Padres are on a national broadcast or something, Buster Olney, he hates the Padres or something like that, you know. So people just kind of read into it. Now, I will admit, I was born and raised in San Francisco. I mean, I'm serious. My mom, as a little kid, said, we do not root for the Dodgers or the Lakers or the Rams. We do Giants, 49ers, and Warriors. And I was taught that as a young kid. It was almost like going to Sunday school, but with my mom. I mean, it's interesting. And it's for San Francisco, natives, it's a L.A. rivalry. There's a lot of NorCal, SoCal rivalry.
Oh, sure.
In many dimensions of culture. That
doesn't mean, though, you dislike the other guy when the other guy's successful. I mean, I didn't dislike the Giants in this Hall of Fame run that Bochy had. I mean, I had great regard for what Sabian built up there with Bruce Bochy.
But see, the cool part of all this is that you have to have sort of like a nemesis, some kind of a villain, and it's cool if your rival is the villain.
Well, we have that. We have the Raiders, we have the A's.
Well, yeah, well, the Raiders kind of naturally play the villain, but I'm just saying, Red Sox, Yankees, whoever you root for, you're rooting for the good guys, and the other guys are the villains. And that's what makes sports fun, and especially like when you go to a Dodger Padre game and everyone is intermingled in the crowd, either at Petco or Dodger Stadium, and other fans kind of get it, where they'll poke fun, but they're still nice about it, but they're very loyal to their team. And I just dig that vibe.
So you don't have any problem with this podcast. They all like me and they dislike you.
Well, I will say this, is that people either love you or they don't love you.
That's okay. Comes with the turf.
Yeah, it does come with the turf.
Okay, thanks for joining us.
Okay, speaking of the turf, we'll go to Walter. Hey, kind regards, Hacksaw. Last time I heard you was on Extra Sports 690 as a Chargers play-by-play. Wish you the best.
Thank you. We're here Mondays and Thursdays. You people could really help us grow by giving us a thumbs up, hit the follow button, give us a 5-star rating, and email everybody or text all your friends and say, Hacksaw's back. You're not going to believe what he just said on his podcast. And tell them we're on Mondays and Thursdays at 1:30. You can help us grow this thing even faster. This thing has just exploded.
You'd be a good used car salesman. I mean, you just keep bringing it. Okay, let's go here to Gary. Hey, Josh Allen deserves to cry. How incredibly frustrating. The Bills are cursed like the Chargers. I like the Rams and Puka Nacua to win the Super Bowl and thusly winning the Battle of L.A. over the hapless Chargers.
Life after Kansas City and Patrick Mahomes sure looks different now. And now, unfortunately, we got injuries are part of this equation. So, Denver losing Bo Nix, the fact that Seahawks quarterback is hurt and trying to play through it. Wow. So it's just different. This thing is wide open. It's right there, wide open. But New England's going to have to earn it because they have to win in Denver. And the Rams have to earn it. They got to win up in Seattle, and they did not do that the last time. So the AFC NFC Championship game next weekend will be fun, and then we got 2 weeks to talk about the Super Bowl.
What's interesting, though, is there's no Mahomes, there's no Burrow, there's no Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts is out. So many, like, star quarterbacks, they ain't here in the Final Four.
They're not playing. No, I get changing of the guard. Maybe it's a one-time aberration, but it's changing of the guard.
Yeah. Okay.
Interesting. Thanks, Gary.
Okay, let's go here to Sports Fan. He goes, hey, Lee Hacksaw Hamilton, when will we see an NHL team in San Diego, and where do you put the NHL stadium in San Diego?
Well, there's a theory, there's a feel, there's an emotional pull. Stan Kroenke is going to rebuild a new sports arena. Let's make that an NHL venue. But the reality is, does Gary Bettman, do the Kings and the Ducks want a third franchise in Southern California? Or are they better served to go to Atlanta, which is a huge explosive market, or go to Houston, which has grown? Or are they better to go back to Quebec City, which has the Olympic Arena, and the province of Quebec is different. And, of course, they got a heritage with the old Quebec Nordique. I don't think we're going to see a franchise here. I don't think we're going to see an NBA team. I don't think we'll see an NHL team. Unfortunately, we're positioned here with what's up north, and I just don't think the Lakers, Clippers, the Kings, the Ducks would want it. From an economic standpoint, I think the NHL would go to Houston, go to Atlanta, and maybe even look at Quebec City before they'd ever consider this here. Great market. It's a shame we don't have an NFL franchise or a way to build a stadium and get a franchise back here.
Aren't they talking about building a stadium like in Chula Vista or something?
Well, that's a tennis venue, and there'll be a tract of land if somebody wanted to build an 80,000-seat stadium. But that's a lot more money than you got on your credit card.
Interesting. I mean, I'd imagine that in the world of, big money owners, they probably look at San Diego and said, well, yeah, everyone leaves San Diego. The Chargers, the Clippers, the yada yadas. And so that's just hanging over our head all the time. And to your point, it's not like we can radically expand our marketplace reach because we got the ocean, the desert, Mexico, and then you got L.A. and Orange County.
Yep, concur.
So you're kind of boxed in.
Yeah, we are who we are. Thank goodness we got a baseball franchise that's pretty good that cares about its community. How about this? Should I bring this up right now? I thought about this on the way over today, John. So here are the Rams on the brink of going to their third Super Bowl since they moved to L.A. And then there's the Chargers, Team Spanos, first family of football, failing again in postseason play with this great young quarterback. Think about that. They're not on anybody's radar. They're on the periphery of sports again.
Well, that's why a lot of L.A. fans are like saying, the Clippers and the Chargers, we don't really care about them. That's San Diego. Take them back.
Should have never left. I'm sorry.
No, I mean, and then, even Dodgers, Angels. I mean, it's just so lopsided, because the Giants and Jets are usually both equally horrible. But you would expect, you have both teams at the top of the game. I remember I was in New York City what year was it? Was it 2000, I think, when they had the Subway Series, Yankees-Mets. Oh, my God, the guys out on the streets were selling all the gear. Yeah. And that's got to be cool for a city where both of your teams are really good.
Yeah, if we ever had a Dodger-Angel World Series, that'd be kind of electric for the city of Los Angeles, but that's not going to happen.
No, no way.
Not with Ode Moreno and the way they do business in Anaheim.
No, not a chance.
Okay.
Hey, we got some breaking news here, and this is from Michael. He goes, the Dolphins hired Jeffrey Hafley as head coach and John Eric Sullivan as their general manager.
Well, Sullivan came from Green Bay. Where did Hafley come from? Green Bay. The report was Hafley went in there on Sunday, and the report was they were not going to let him leave. So Miami was so far down the road, and Sullivan knows Hafley because they've worked together, so that makes a lot of common sense. So that's one place that Sean McDermott probably won't have to worry about going to interview. So if that's the case, we now have 3 NFL jobs filled. These dominoes are going to start falling pretty quickly.
Interesting. I mean, let's just for fun speculation, let's just assume that, Jim Harbaugh got fired and you had to hire a new head coach of the Chargers. Of those candidates that are cycling around, is there one guy in mind that you think you'd love to have in L.A.? Like, would it be Tomlin? Would it be Mike McDaniels?
Proven product Tomlin, but that does not help that quarterback. But Tomlin's never had a great quarterback in modern day since Roethlisberger retired. That's why Tomlin to Buffalo makes an awful lot of sense to me. Good defense, superstar quarterback in place. That thing's ready to win. And maybe Tomlin pushes them over the limit. But Harbaugh's not going to get fired because he's got a 5-year contract, and they did nothing wrong. They had a successful season until they got the quarterback killed.
Yeah.
They're in denial.
Denial. Okay, let's keep trucking. Here's some more comments about tonight's game from Donald. Indiana men against Miami boys.
This is a unique 2-year run that IU's had, but IU says we don't have to prove anything. We're 26-2, and by the way, we just got the best quarterback in the transfer portal, and we'll be even better next season because we continue to import players from everywhere. So the landscape in a lot of places in college football has changed because the big cigar boosters are bringing their checkbooks and they're meeting with the Signettis of the world or every other place in the world and writing checks to pour into NIL money. So everybody's got access to players now. Much more competitive, more balanced, but it's a chaotic game that we have to deal with.
You like seeing Michael Irvin on the sidelines?
I'm tired of Michael Irvin and Ray Lewis. Jeez, get a life.
But does Indiana have like famous alums that would be on the sidelines?
Yeah, basketball fans.
Okay.
No,
yeah, but Indiana, I'm just like I said, I'm curious to see what the energy is like. And you said it's going to be probably pretty close to 50-50 the way they sold the tickets.
Well, the way it's only so many tickets to IU fans, so many tickets to Miami Hurricane fans, unless there's a mad push on the resale market. But all the other tickets in that Hard Rock Stadium go to corporate sponsors to be sold. So I don't think it'll be 80-20 Indiana fans wearing red.
Interesting. Yeah, it's going to be great, though. It's going to be a great game. Okay, let's go here to Steven talking Dodgers. Hey, the Dodgers had this TV contract for a little while now, and the spending really started when they got Ohtani money.
Well, they got Ohtani, and then they got all the Pacific Rim corporate advertising. You go around Dodger Stadium, you pull up a picture, images, Dodger Stadium, you will not believe how many Pacific Rim corporate sponsors they have that have signage there. I mean, they invested in Ohtani, and they are reaping all the rewards from Ohtani with all the corporate money that pours in addition to, obviously, their big regional TV contract.
Oh, but they were still like at the top of the list for money spent before Ohtani. I mean, they were paying Betts and Freeman and Kershaw.
But not to this tune.
No. Clearly, they have more revenue coming in. I get you on the whole, sponsorship angle. But I don't know. I think there's something. There was enough suspicion on X of talking about this TV contract, like how it was a one-off. That McCourt got something that was heavily rigged in his favor to maximize even more revenue than other teams have a chance to produce.
I haven't seen that whole story. He got a piece of revenue from TV, but he got a piece of revenue from the parking lots.
He's probably trying to rent it out to ICE. Was he trying to do that about a few months ago?
Despicable.
Despicable. Okay, let's keep on going here. And Nathan has a comment on the overtime rules. He goes, used to be whoever wins the coin toss wins the game in the NFL OT.
Well, it's one of the reasons they decided to make it fair for both sides. And I like the rule, even though this guy's got some absurd opinion.
No, the college OT rules are great.
Yeah, 25-yard line, right.
Batfan 1, was Buffalo cheated by the refs? In my opinion, that was a catch with dual possession.
But you have to complete the catch, and that's the whole thing is Cooks had it, went to the ground to complete the catch. By the time they rolled over, he didn't have the football anymore, and the ball did not come loose. It was ripped out of his hand, so it was not a catch. It was a bang-bang play. And each of the three different sources that I read about who reviewed all the video said that was a pick because he did not complete the play.
Well, I'll give them credit that they're taking a scientific approach to this, even if it has to be a frame-by-frame review. Mm-hmm. As long as they just get it right. But it just seemed it was inconsistent with the play in the Bears-Rams game that was similar to this. Wasn't there one just like this where the catch was made and it was dual possession, but they said that the receiver was able to hold on to the ball? Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I'm a bit confused by it all.
Okay. I got too many plays in my mind.
Okay. Well, here's a shout-out to some of the old days here from Mike. He goes, not a fan of Ben and Woods either. I think there's some people talking about local talk sports talk radio. But he says, not a fan of Banner Woods either, but I like Braden Soprenet. I love Coach John Katera when he was on 97.3 The Fan.
Well, how about us on 690 and 1090, because we were all together. So I don't have a problem with any of those guys. They're doing what they want to do. They're being allowed to do what they do. The ratings for some are okay. The ratings for others are just appalling. If I were king, we'd be doing sports talk radio a little bit different way in terms of heavy-duty content about what's everybody around the nation is talking about today. And that's not Padre Dreamers Camp or whatever the hell that is.
It's fantasy camp.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. They I don't know, probably cost them a few grand to go out there and you wear the uniform, go in the clubhouse. That sounds like fun.
Everybody does it differently, but what we do is driven hard towards fanatical sports fans.
See, back when I was a listener of 690 back in the heyday, I like the fact that there were all these different personalities. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was definitely you guys structured your shows differently, but every one of you, I would have like a picture in my head of who you were and what you look like. And this is before the internet, and we didn't have as much access to seeing it. And so it was fun to have all these different characters with their own different, kind of shtick and their own kind of take. It was fun. Mm-hmm. It was a fun time. So here, like with Katera and even Braden Soprenet, I really like his show. He does a good job. He's a young guy. He's getting his chance. Katera, he's a classic dude. He's been on this show with us. And then Ben and Woods, I love them too. My wife listens to him every morning when she drives to work. So all these guys are great. They just do it differently.
It just depends what you want on your menu. This is my menu. This is what we're talking about. That's okay.
Topics on the table. Okay, let's go here. This is some Bears comment from Joe. Hey, Pope Leo got the Bears into overtime. Couldn't win the game for him.
Oh, I thought he was going to stand on the Vatican and do this for the Bears. But it was a really great game. And Chicago has just made such great strides, and the future is so much in front of them. And Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson learn a lot from this adversity. And it was a hell of a playoff game. So that's where we are.
I think it's cool that Pope Leo is also a White Sox fan, too. I mean, this is just a unique thing where it's an American Pope. But it's cool to see celebrities declare their fandom of certain teams. Mm-hmm. Like Emma Stone is big on the Padres, and, the Dodgers have got
Everybody,
including J.T. Slater from Saved by the Bell. What's his name? Mario Lopez, and he's a San Diego guy, by the way, and he's a Dodger fan, which that's a whole other problem. But I do like the fact to see celebrities that they have a team and they stick with it.
So celebrities sit there courtside at Laker basketball as if everything's beautiful and giving up 135 points to Charlotte.
But it's cool, like when LeBron will interact with Drake or something like that on the side, and they'll have a few words, or even different superstars on the front row will interact, Yep. I think one time, LeBron did that. He stole the drink from Drake, and then he handed it to Jay-Z that was, down the line on the first row.
And you're sitting here doing a damn podcast with me.
It's all good. It's all good. Okay,
we move on.
Okay, we'll go to social media. There's a lot down here, too, to get involved with. Okay, let's talk about the Raiders. And this is with who is that? Wes Harris. Hey, Pete refused to develop young talent, chose to play the game of win now, and we were worse than we needed to be. Worked out for all of us because we got the first pick. Bad for us because we look worse than we are. His son was too busy partying and going out to strip clubs than coaching his unit. The GM had to do film study with Ashton, and the O-line held their own practices after practicing for the day. It's absolutely insane.
Well, Pete Carroll made a lot of mistakes in terms of staff construction, and they wound up all losing their job. But, I mean, that roster is a bunch of misfits. They need a complete overhaul of everything. I don't know if Geno Smith's the right quarterback, but they got him under contract now, and they gave him an extension, and so there's big money there. Just they got to hit on draft picks, but they got 11 picks, so they should be able. They got 2 number ones and a top of the second round. I mean, they should be able to get some real gems out of this draft, and then they need some good luck and no more injuries, etc. But this thing has been so bad for so long.
Yeah, you figure, just by random chance, one of the years they'd be really up, and they just never are.
No.
I mean, it's just a disaster. I mean, it's been you always quote the record for the last 20 years.
Since 2002, and their last playoff win The Raiders' composite record is 131 wins and 242 losses. Think about that. Have not won a playoff game since 2002.
Is that the year they went to the Super Bowl?
Yes.
And remember the center disappeared like in Tijuana?
Went to Mexico. Yes.
Yeah.
So just
yeah, that was crazy. That was a crazy Super Bowl. Okay, let's keep on going here. Talk some Ravens football, and this is with Mark. Hey, John Harbaugh and Eric DeCosta are next door neighbors, and Eric DeCosta was holding back tears talking about John's firing supposedly. I think the story you gave broadly does make sense, but it's not like these two weren't communicating. I just think they each have autonomy, and DeCosta didn't realize he was indirectly getting John fired.
Well, DeCosta felt they needed a change on the staff. Communications between Todd Monken, the offensive coordinator, and Lamar Jackson really eradicated. And they had injuries, too, and the defensive side of the football just completely fell apart. A lot of breakdowns there, but John Harbaugh was steadfast. These are my guys, this is my staff, and I'm staying loyal to them. At which point, Eric DeCosta went to ownership and said, if he cannot agree to make changes, then we need to change the head coach because we have to make changes. And Steve Biscotti, I was told that he did a 65-minute press conference. I was told it was electric.
It was. I saw parts of it.
He answered all the questions. I mean, he was very blunt and very strong, very opinionated. So I don't think DeCosta wanted to make it a power play, but DeCosta was of the opinion we can't allow this atmosphere to continue, and Harbaugh refuses to make changes to change the atmosphere. The owner said, fine. There's a lot of good coaches out there. We'll make a change of head coach and staff.
Was it Biscotti, the owner?
Yes.
He kind of gave me like Jim Irsay vibes, just the kind of way he was dressed up there, and really a take-charge guy.
He's vibrant.
Very vibrant. But, if you're a head coach for that long, at some point you hit the end of the road, right? I mean, at some point it's going to end, maybe not the way you want it to end, but 18 years, and then Tomlin was 19?
Right.
That's insane. I mean, head coaches now are getting fired after 1 or 2 years.
With winning records.
Yeah.
I mean, unbelievable what's transpired in the last 10 days in the NFL. Thanks for being with us.
Okay, let's go do some Padre talk. This is with Dan, the Tin Man. And this is why the Dodgers will always be better. Preller has done nothing but gut the farm. For what nothing, the Soto trade was an utter disaster. Then turn around and trade for Miller, and then maybe trade him. Moves like this or why why he will not be expensive. He's a Timu, Andrew Friedman. I don't know if you know what that means. Except Friedman is miles above this schmuck. Padres at some point will have to rebuild.
Well, how do you rebuild when the farm system's gone again? And how do you rebuild when you got all these contracts that you cannot move anywhere else? No, I've maintained all along, if you listen to this podcast for 3+ years, their window to get to the World Series was this, and then it became this, and now it's even a little shorter. And they don't have any assets left to use to trade to go get more people. So I hate to say the pennant race is over. I guess anything can happen, but John and I totally disagree about this. I almost spilled my coffee. John's telling me, well, we could trade Pivetta, get this, but you're not going to get the equal to Pivetta. So it's just a tough situation. You'd probably in the big picture, yeah, he's made Padre baseball really vibrant. And the Padres done a great job in terms of revenue streams and marketing and making the Gaslamp Quarter a destination point. But they didn't get to the World Series, and that window may have closed.
Yeah, but you're going to blame Preller for getting them to the divisional and having a 2-1 lead, facing the Dodgers going into a bullpen game. The Padres went 24 innings, didn't score. That wasn't Preller's fault.
No.
So I don't know. To me, A.J. Preller, I like the fact that he's willing to make risks, take gambles on things. And he'll trade guys you never thought would be tradable. And you say he's got nothing left to trade. He still has assets to trade. We were just talking last week about some of the young pitching talent they have at Double-A. So there's still plenty of time. But by the way, the Timu Andrew Friedman, you know what that means? No. Timu is like the Amazon equivalent, but for really, really cheap products.
Oh, okay.
So, but this is the problem, is that as we can say whatever you want to say about A.J. Preller, you love him, you hate him, whatever. You can't compare him to Andrew Friedman. They're playing with a completely different set of armaments. Mm-hmm. It's like a superpower going against like a mid-major.
Well, Friedman's currency is his checkbook. Prella's currency is the farm system he's traded away 4 times in 11 years.
Yeah, but you can replenish, you can rebuild, and he's been doing it. They just signed 3 guys, from Latin America.
Those are 16-year-olds who are not going to be here for 5 years, and by the way, they're never going to be here he's still the GM because they're going to trade him. Am I right or am I right?
You'll trade some of them, but he's a wheeler, he's a dealer. Okay. I like that. It's a swashbuckling thing.
Well, opening day is not for another 5-6 weeks, so we'll just see if there is another transaction. But, we had right at the onset of the show, we went through the 15 acquisitions that he's made, and outside of the Korean infielder who's now hurt, there's nobody that's a difference maker, and he's still got holes on his roster.
Yeah, that list. I mean, there are a lot of names I'd like, what? Who?
That's right.
Yeah, so you guys got to hope they turn out. Okay, let's talk some Chargers. And this is with Raymond. He goes, no, this I think was before they lost to Houston. No way, actually not Houston, they played the Patriots, pardon me. No way the Chargers win with that horrible offensive line, and Justin Herbert is a choker in the playoffs. Well, so he called it.
He's not a choker. He got hammered into submission by everything bad around him, including the play calls by Greg Roman. The bigger problem is not Justin Herbert. The bigger problem is the front. The bigger problem was the offensive coordinator, and they're going to have to change that philosophy.
Yeah, you can't call him a choker.
No.
I mean, you can call the Spanos family chokers. You could talk about the Charger brand as chokers, but it's not Herbert.
Your quarterback has over 4,400 all-purpose yards and has the most sacks, the most hits, and most pressures, and you're calling him a choker? I call him a warrior.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
let's squeeze a few more in here.
Thank you for the opinion, but you're damn wrong.
Okay, this is topical for tonight. This is from Christopher. Hey, he goes, to answer the question, is college football broken? Absolutely. Oregon coach Daniel Lanning is on the ball with his breakdown of how to bring some real and true sanity to the collegiate game and to rein in the never-ending season. College football is a business, yeah, but it needs to end on January 1st. End of statement. No mas. End the overload. Ridiculous.
Here's my pen. You can sign that memo too. No, Lanning said a lot of things that make an awful lot of sense. Now, to get from this point to what they need to be, there's a lot of things have to happen, and I just don't know how complex it's going to be because everybody is still suing everybody for extra years of eligibility and the structure. College football, as great as the games are, because everybody's got money now to get players, as great as the games are, college football is broken.
Well, and so is basketball.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, did you notice in the Aztec game on Saturday, the New Mexico Lobos had like a 24-year-old freshman who
came from Europe.
He came from Europe, and he was a man playing against boys. So yeah, the rules are just really squirrely.
Yeah, every time somebody comes across a rule they don't like, they file a lawsuit, and they wind up getting an injunction. It's a disaster.
What about like Carson Beck tonight? Isn't he like on a 6-year plan or something like that?
Yeah, he's in his 7th year.
7th year?
Yeah, because he had a COVID year, injury years.
A red shirt?
Might have been. Somehow he got that extra year.
Well, how many years was he at Georgia, and how many is he? He's only 1 year at Miami, right? But how long was he at Georgia?
Well, I think it was a total of 6.
So
I don't know what the structure and the breakdown of him not being able to play, whether he was injured, whether he got a COVID year on top of it, and it's.
Do you think he'll be an NFL quarterback?
Marginally, I don't. Mm-hmm. He manages games. I mean, he turns the ball over a lot, so I don't think so.
Interesting. But Fernando Mendoza seems to be the can't-miss prospect.
Yep. And he manages games and wins games, too.
Yeah, he's a winner.
But he's not. I don't think Fernando Mendoza is going to throw for 4,500 yards in the NFL. He's a different type of quarterback.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. He's not Josh Allen.
No.
He's not Justin Herbert.
No. All right, we move on. Last couple here.
Okay, let's talk some NASCAR. This is with Kelly. Hey, the NASCAR brand has been mismanaged by the France family for its personal gain. The Petty, Allison, Yarbrough, Pearson, Earnhardt, Gordon, Waltrip, Johnson heroes from the past were the true builders of the series, not the France family.
Well, that whole lawsuit, that antitrust lawsuit that they settled out of court after Michael Jordan's public statements on the stand, wow. And so now it's different. We had the story about the commissioner of NASCAR being forced to resign 2 weeks ago when in discovery the lawyers found all these hostile texts that he sent to the Hall of Fame owners, denouncing the Richard Childresses of the world and the Roushers. These are the people that made the sport with these great drivers. Yeah, the France family gave them structure, but the France family's done nothing but put all the money in their own pockets, and that has now changed because of Michael Jordan. When Michael Jordan. When Michael Jordan stood up on the last day of the trial, he stood up and pointed at the table where the France family was sitting with their lawyers and said, I'm new to the sport. I came from the NBA. In the NBA, our players have rights, and we're going to get rights for all these drivers and all these owners because you guys have bullied us way too long. And that flipped everything in the jurors' box. And next thing you know, that next morning, before the jurors were supposed to render the decision, out-of-court settlement. Changed the whole charter membership.
Yeah, good on MJ.
Yeah.
That's cool. Because it is kind of like a cartel, the way the NASCAR, even F1,
yep.
They only have so many charters, and it costs big money to get them, but there's, it's not like there's no like well, maybe in F1 there's a relegation, right, for drivers, but is there a relegation for teams?
No, teams run out of money. They can't make it work. They give it up. They sell their team for billions of dollars to the next one coming in the door.
But so then they get the license or the charter. Mm-hmm. So it's like buying a restaurant just to get the liquor license.
Yep.
So because you would think that if you are an up and coming team, like who was the American driver? It was Andretti was trying to get an F1.
Yeah, and he got boxed out because it's anti-American. And next thing you know, he stepped away. He sold their package of what they were trying to do to another investor who had ties to F1. Cadillac came on as a sponsor, and Cadillac F1 was finally approved.
Crazy. So it's not what you know, it's who you know.
That comes into play,
too. So it just seems like if you are like a up-and-coming team, you should have a shot to be able to get into the NASCAR circuit. And if there's some of those lowly guys that are always in the bottom half, maybe they need to move down to the minor leagues.
Yeah. Deep pockets. You need deep pockets to make these teams work. Hey, listen, we hope you have enjoyed this podcast. Man, we've been going on 100 miles an hour today. Just a reminder, podcast brought to you by DIXIELINE Lumber and Home Centers. Been in business for more than 100 years. You got projects, they got materials. You want ideas, they can be your best friend. Go to DIXIELINE.com to see all the things they have to offer. Please check my website, LeeHacksawHamilton.com. I write on it every day of the week. It's there first thing every morning. Better yet, join Hacksaw's Insiders Group. Subscribe. You'll get 2 newsletters a day. You can fill out the orange box on the homepage of my website. Give us a thumbs up. Hit the follow button. Give us a 5-star rating. It really helps us a great deal. We're going to take a deep breath. Here comes college football. Then we got AFC, NFC football this coming weekend. Thursday, we'll update you more on baseball. Thursday, we'll preview the AFC, NFC championship game. By Thursday, I'll be ready.
Good. And just quick question. Is it a 2-week break before the Super Bowl?
Yes.
Okay,
there will be a bye week.
Okay, so we're going to get to mid-February, right?
Yes, as per the norm.
Okay.
Good. John, have yourself a great afternoon. We'll see you come Thursday.
Go Hoosiers.
Thank you for joining us. Enjoy the national championship game. We'll see you Thursday at 1:30. Also, thanks for being part of Hacksaw's Headlines.
Join us again for Hacksaw's Headlines on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. And find the audio version on your favorite podcast app.
Touchdown, San Diego!
For more content, go to LeeHacksawHamilton.com.